No, I predict this game is going to be the polar opposite. It's going to be like an hour-long, ridiculous standoff TVT. But anyway, guys,
yet. We're overdue.
Down here in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our red Terran player, currently teamless, but it's alive! Here in the top right-hand corner.
A little bit of a nostalgic moment there for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
His opponent here in the upper right-hand corner is our blue Terran player from Evil Geniuses, the one and only, the venerable Puma.
Venerable?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
Throwing out some...
Means throwing out?
Throwing out some big words. No. Yes, it means throwing out.
Come on, Kevin, don't troll me here.
It actually comes from when presidents used to throw out the first pitch at ball games, and I don't know, I'm actually making up a fake story here in every way, shape, or form, but I don't really know where I was going with that. Terrible at improv, if you ask me. So
I'm sad. Okay. Well, Puma has shown that he's not opening with Proxy 2 Racks, and Gavin, you might be right. It might be in for a long game.
Yes. No. Yeah. No Proxy 2 Racks. So let's see. Refinery coming up first for Puma, as he decided to go gas first in the first game, if you remember, but ended up going only single gas after that. Was thinking about those uncloaked Banshees. Was able to make that Viking, yes, but Alive was still able to kind of stomp his way to victory with a later gas, but double gas afterwards. This case, though, it is going to be a command center first, so Alive already switching things up, and we have a bit more of a macro game.
Will Alive have a chance to scout the gas first this time around? That's the question here. Game 1, he was able to. He got that information. In this situation, well, he's opening with a command center first versus Puma here. It's not too much different than normally. You want to be able to make it quickly to starport. That's the best way to hold off gas first openings. You need to get a quick starport and work your way, if needed, to siege tanks, because it's always possible you could have Banshees, Hellions, tanks, all sorts
of
cornucopia of units dashing their way to your base.
Well, Barracks coming up after this now for Alive. We'll see if he decides to go the very fast 3 command center route. Double racks, though, and he could actually just stop there, double gas afterwards, and prioritize his way up into factory and medevacs right afterwards. But for the time being, Puma's going to see clearly, with the barracks being constructed up the front, that this is already a command center first, and he confirms that by checking around the base. Yeah, this isn't... the second you see that barracks, it's not even a gas first, because it's a 325 mineral difference between the two. So Puma gets his information and should get out from here. Yeah, Puma's doing just fine with the gas first. He has his factory well on the way, and we'll see what variant he goes with this. We don't see a second gas, so likely to be very similar to game number 1, where this could actually have quite a bit of success. Now, of course, there are a couple of issues when you run into that. Alive decided to go for a very safe route after this. 2 racks, put up that second barracks right away, because enough Marines, couple of scans available, you can lose a little bit of economy if you're opening like this, as long as you're able to hold off those Banshees and stabilize. Now,
Puma has a lot of information by seeing those 2 barracks, because he knows you built 2 barracks. Not only does that mean your refineries are slowing down, but you have to continue to have enough minerals to utilize those 2 barracks, unless you want to throw away their productivity capability. So Alive is going to lose that Marine, but he knows the refineries are going to be extra late here.
And has Alive done any scouting whatsoever? Yeah, okay, so he did make it out and he did get killed, or he did make his way across the map there. So thus far, Alive should know that it's not any sort of a super early double barracks play. But there is a Hellion in the mix now. It's not actually done that much damage, and Alive trades really well with some good Marine control.
He does. That Hellion only managing to put 1 Marine there. Beautiful control to the back, but good target fire. Conversely, out of Puma, and he'll manage to kill that Marine. That Hellion gets out of there with barely any health.
Yeah, that was a really good micro back and forth from those 2 players, though, I have to say. You see why these guys are absolutely some of the best Terran players in the world there. Just crazy micro going on from both sides.
Yeah. Only once did I see a Hellion hit multiple units. It was the first shot. He came up on the side and sprayed 3 or 4, but actually got 4 because he killed 1 with it.
Yeah, but those Hellions are quite low, as we mentioned before. We'll see what Puma does from here on out. He does have that single unupgraded Banshee here, so no cloak going to be available to him. I mean, at this stage of the game, obviously too late. Can go for delayed cloak later on to try and get some harassment in when we've stabilized and we're on like 3 bases apiece or something like that. Those are certainly very annoying to deal with and can really catch opponents off guard. But for the time being, Puma's not been able to take out any of his opponent's economy. Alive is now sitting up by 4 workers, and that's going to increase a little bit he continues to double produce SCVs, because this command center is nowhere near finished.
Well, there is nothing to deal with this Banshee for Alive. He has Marines that can easily be kited. Puma, you know, they'll get some damage in, but...
He did actually pick up on it, though.
Oh, he did see it.
There was a Marine that just got killed in the middle of the map.
And his engineering base just about to finish, so he can throw down turrets. This is actually huge for Alive.
Yes.
That he saw that. Huge.
So now he can actually keep these Marines off to the side, and he only has to build one missile turret inside of the natural, which is what he's doing.
And he's going to build it towards the top left, making it more difficult for the Banshee to come in unapproached. Or unscouted, excuse me.
Yeah.
Uncontested. A million different uns.
Well, this is, oh wow, actually bringing the Hellions to destroying some of nature on top of this base here, but that supply depot is going to fall, but you can see the supply cap for Alive was not even close to being down there, so Puma's shown very good control, but those Marines actually can't walk too far because they'll walk into splash damage range from the Hellions.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I really like that.
Good move.
So, oh, wow. That's a bit of a micro mistake out of Puma.
Yep. So started very cool, but looks like he was content to go back home and start a couple of stuff up, because you can see he turned his attention away, and he's actually going for that delayed cloak, like I said, when both players are at about 3 bases apiece. And could very easily go into mech out of this, too. Lots of gas, going for a 3rd gas right now. He's only produced...
4th is on the way.
Yeah, he's only produced his mech unit so far.
I feel like you're right, Kevin. Especially with, I mean, 3 command centers, you're going to be spending a lot of your money putting out SCVs. And so if you take that many gases, well, you simply put, really, really want your Vespene. So I would not be surprised to see mech here. If it's not mech, he's going for, like, Bio Banshee Medevac double engineering bay with Colossi.
Oh no. Alive's really far out of position now, and these are 4 Hellions inside of his base. He needs to react with some units ASAP, but this is a lot of lined up SCVs. Puma going to tear after these, but Marines are starting to get in position. He's effectively stopped a couple of these factories. Marines trying to get around the right side to catch the medevac as it escapes.
This could actually work out really, really well for Alive. You know, he took a lot of damage there, but if he can pick this medevac off, I don't know. I don't think he has. It's going to be able to get in the in-between area. Now, if he can make a Viking, though, does he have a starport?
He does not. This was his first factory that just finished.
He's like, I'll make this starport so I can kill this in 100. What is it?
From about a year from now.
50 plus 42 seconds, Kevin.
And indeed, 2 more factories being dropped down for Puma now, so he is going completely into mech. So we are going to see a mech versus biomech strategy here. There's that delayed cloak at work. 5 kills already, and these Marines are falling like flies. That's going to open up for the Hellions to start working their way through, and that's a lot of SCVs all gathered up in the same place, and Puma is doing some incredible damage here. Gets off another shot, unfortunately can't land with both Hellions, but the amount of workers lost has been significant, and Alive, wow, has lost 19.
Okay, so in the early stages of the game, it's not, you know, it can sometimes be a good idea to pull your SCVs off the line when you're being dealt, you know, hit by Banshees, but we see a lot of players actually leave them on the line. That is a perfect example of one reason why. If you grab all your SCVs and pull them, yeah, okay, he might have lost 4, 5, 3 SCVs if he had left them. Not 16 or the quantity that he lost there from those Hellion bursts.
Exactly. So now this Banshee gets in range of the missile turret, down to 21 hit points, but it's certainly done its damage. It wards units away. The other one had killed quite a few more units, but Puma now coming back in with these Hellions once again, forcing everything up towards these Marauders, but look at that, more workers dying. Puma has played this game very effectively so far. I am incredibly impressed. Alive, though, at the same time, swinging in to get some damage done, picks off the Banshee in the air and wards these Hellions away on the way out.
Yeah, and the Hellions can't get a good spread here as Alive's Marines are getting a beautiful concave. Even though they're down in the orange and the red, I don't know, man, those Hellions, yeah, a couple more taken out. Finally, the Marines will be cleaned up. But they did their damage. Puma is down in supply right now, however.
37 workers have already been killed at the 12.5-minute mark, so it's one of those games, not a good day to be a worker, unfortunately.
Yeah, 3 workers a minute.
Yes, the plight of the Terran worker. What's up?
I said that one's not too hard for me.
You got it. A+. High five. Yeah.
I tried to make it loud enough that they can hear it.
I just, of course, everyone now jokes because I do way too much math on air, so I don't know if
I'll stop doing math then, because I think if we're both doing it, it's a little too much.
Big drop.
If you're training for your SATs, though, Gibbles and Kevin, the best way to study.
That's right. We got your back. We got your back. Funny thing about the SATs. I don't know if or I guess it was what's the graduate test? Why can't I think of it? Graduate school
got
test.
like the MCATs, which are for med.
I did the general one. I can't think of what it's
not
called.
GED. That's for high school, right?
Yeah. No, that's the high school replacement for a diploma. But anyway, moral of the story is I went to a communications program. Actually, didn't miss a single question on the math section. I aced the math section 100%. And I turned in. And I went to a communications program. I turned in my my resume to them, and they're like, "You." Engineering's down the hall. I'm like, no, I hate engineering. So, anyway.
I think you told me that like my first or second day here. Something about, I remember hearing that exact expression from you. So, all right, Alive is, he's trying to get something done with that drop, was unable to do it. Both players fairly equal on their supply right now. Blue Flame Hellions are going to fix that real quick, though. He does need to get into a better position, however, and does it.
That's right. So Roast's 5 Marines on the way out, but Alive is taking really good map control. This is what you have to do with Bio against a mech player. You have to find advantages because obviously in a straight-up engagement, you just rush your army at your opponent, and you're going to die pretty quickly. As you can see, even though those Marines had a perfect ambush on the Hellions, they're still able to kill a lot of Marines on the way out. So Puma certainly will have quality of army here for a while. It's going to require the mobility, the multitasking that Alive is known for to really get this done.
We are almost at 150 supply here for Puma. He's really coming along with this mech composition. One of the things we see a lot, though, is problems with anti-air. So taking a look at Puma, he actually has no Vikings in the sky and 1 Raven. He's got 9 siege tanks, and he's. I was looking, he was making some Vikings. So those are his first 2 Vikings, which is really, really nice for Puma. If it's possible, he could have overinvested, excuse me, into that Viking count, which is something we see Terrence do a lot. But Puma has not done it. He's making the perfect amount.
Puma is, Alive is actually doing something kind of risky, though. This is a very high risk-reward scenario. You can see he has 2 medevacs. He already has 50 bio units on the field, and he's making them a ton at a time. He's making a conscious decision to kind of give up air control because he thinks his opponent is going to have that and create the strongest possible ground army. He's not going to have a lot of sustain, but he's going to have a lot of frontline power, and if he can do damage early on, then he's going to be great.
Yeah, it's very much you need to punch through immediately and just break your opponent. There's no, I stim, I engage, I kill off some of your siege tanks, I fall back.
Right.
This is not the type of fighting that Alive has to go for here. It's very specific. He needs to have 1 engage, and it needs to be great.
Now, of course, he's going to add on a couple more as this goes along, but the point is to keep a very low medevac count and a very high quality of army. Invest in your upgrades, which is happening. 2-2's going to be done here soon. Hard contain we can see here in the middle, and Alive's going to set up with packs of units and run them around the outside. That's exactly what he's doing.
Okay, so Puma is looking like he's going to be starting to take his 4th base as it is almost completed here. And he's actually flying. Oh, wait, is that his 5th? He's actually building a 5th base next to his natural expansion. So Puma is really racking up the command centers right now. Puma's natural, excuse me.
So is Alive, though, too. He's got 5 of his own. I was just checking that after you had said that. I want to see what Alive's response was.
Everybody's got command centers, man.
It's in Tomb Valley. Of course. And look at that. Alive's actually going for a 6th command center. But,
and Puma is going for a 6th command center that he will make a planetary.
Yes.
I assume.
In the middle of the map, of course. Very high Marauder count, of course, for Alive. 20 Marauders, a Thor, 5 siege tanks, so very strong army. He is now maxed out. Well, he loses a few Marines off to the side. We'll see what he replenishes it with, but it looks like he almost wants to meet his opponent's tank count. Not head-on, you can't match a mech opponent's tank count.
Unless you're Pult.
Right. He just wants a very high amount, though, that he can sit back and actually maintain a defensive line himself.
All right, so Alive right now is doing exactly that. What?
No, you were just, I was saying Pult. You just reminded me of like Pult reducing 1 billion tanks in bio.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, man. He's crazy. And well, the other thing is that he'll kill so many of the mech players' tanks that he'll wind up with the same number as them.
Yes, exactly.
So.
Well, as we can see, Alive making another command center. 4 command centers being created for Puma. 3 for Alive at the moment. In addition to
Can we cue the Blur song right now?
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm actually going to. It's at about this time in the game. We're checking around for drops and stuff like that. We'll actually watch these Hellions come through. We'll be able to snag a couple of SCVs here.
He didn't do it.
Nope, didn't get enough. Oh wait. Okay, all the SCVs turn back in. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he's definitely going to lose all the Hellions there. So.
Sorry, he didn't want Hellions anyways.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead. This is the fun part of this game, though, when we check out exactly how many command centers there are on the map. Alive currently has 8.
A number that is divisible by 2.
Correct.
Puma's, on the other hand, is not. Oh, wait, he just started another one. I think I'm wrong now.
He's got a lot of them. So there's another one there, another one there. He's got 9. We have 17 command centers at the 20-minute mark. There's been about 1 command center produced a minute.
He's building 4. Crazy, man. Of course, the objective here is to be able to throw away all your SCVs eventually, except for the ones mining Vespine.
Yeah. So last game, I was totally wrong. I said, oh, Cloud Kingdom can lend itself to very long TVTs. You can have big tank battles in the middle and stuff like that. I was absolutely wrong. It was a 5-minute proxy 11-11X. This game, I said we've been missing that good old-fashioned hour-long TVT. We may have one on our hands.
Oh, you said, I was like, why are you wrong, Kevin? You called a long game on this.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, last map, yes. I was as wrong as you could be. But this one, I'm feeling pretty confident.
Kevin, you should just let it roll, man. I misheard you. Probably a lot of the audience did too. Owning up to mistakes that none of us even realized. Good guy, Kevin. Somebody make a meme. Guys, Puma is falling back right now as he spots Alive moving forward with his massive army. Siege tank's going to start shelling away on the planetary.
And that could very well be 700 resources down the drain in a second if he doesn't do anything about it. Oh, but it's actually going to buy time because Puma... Whoa! He's going to go for this. We're going to have a showdown here. He's going to try and pinch these forces in. The planetary does die. Like I said, that's 700 resource investment that just returned nothing. And Alive knows those forces are there and is going to engage this. He has to kill the frontline forces and then turn around and engage this straight up. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. The tanks are actually already in position for Alive. The Raven doing its work, though, with the point defense drone sitting down and absorbing some of the shots from the Marauders. That's allowing Puma to get a little bit of work done here. And mech versus mech straight up, Puma does have a bit of an advantage, and he is going to be able to pick up the rest of these tanks with the Banshee in the air.
This is pretty interesting. Now Alive is pumping out 5 Vikings at a time, so all of a sudden Alive decides, you know what, I am going to take that advantage in the skies. We'll see if he's able to, switch that around and do it, but as of now, he's ahead by 60 supply. That was a great engagement for Alive.
And I actually like the bio transition into Air Terran afterwards a little bit better than what I do from something like Puma's position, because Puma's really well invested into these units on the ground here, but you can see Alive is making a ton of Vikings at a time. He's investing into his Ravens. I would not be surprised to see something like a Fusion Core and eventually a couple of battle cruisers added on soon. Yeah,
Alive is completely ready for that transition, but he is going to finish wrapping up 3-3 before we move into that.
And you know these guys are so tired right now. Like, if this was played at probably like 6 in the morning, and they're playing a ridiculously long TVT.
It's 3 a.m. in the morning. There's bodies all over the floor, and I don't know how I got there, so I guess Puma must have killed someone.
Hopefully not. He's such a chipper guy.
We'll see if we can kill Alive here. That's the thing. Alive's the one who dies, obviously. But, oh my god, that's the lamest joke.
It's okay, I got your back. Well, Alive cleans up the Hellions that we're trying to run through on the right-hand side. Supplies are about even between these two players. There's a lot of resources available for Puma at the moment. It means his infrastructure is a little bit weak. He doesn't have enough unit-producing structures right now. He has a ton of resource-gathering structures, but is that going to be able to win him the day?
Just full of lame jokes right now, Kevin. You're like a ton. I'm like, I think a factory weighs more than that. But lots of Vikings right now for Alive, actually, and his ship weapon upgrades are an upgrade behind, but he just has too many.
Yeah, and this is going to work out pretty well for him, too, because then he can actually sacrifice a couple of these Vikings, start dropping down individually on top of the tanks here, and doing some damage. There's enough Hellions here. It's going to kind of suck for him a little bit. There's just going to be a lot of carnage as he throws away a lot of Vikings.
Bio comes in as well. It's shooting the Hellions, though. You ideally want to be hitting the tanks there. There you go. Alive is going to clean that up so effectively.
Oh, that was really well done.
He's got a 20 supply advantage now over his opponent. Going to diminish a little bit as more units are queued up, but...
Yeah, but the entire bank that we were talking about for Puma is now gone. And don't get me wrong, his resource collection rate is absurd. Yeah.
At disappearing, collapsing, all sorts of failing.
Lots of fail.
Losing their money in general is what we'll say. Puma is, well, he's getting a lot of money right now, actually. I'm curious, what are the income for these guys?
Oh, my God. It's running pretty rampant, actually, for both players. So 60 workers to 68. Puma still has the advantage there. But he's got to start catching up on just pure units. And where is he going to make his stance? It looks like on the ground for now. Just 2 Vikings at a time. Going to ship weapons level 3, yes, but otherwise we see Thors, Hellions, just a lot of mech forces, not switching up to that Air Terran.
Yeah, that command center is down to 70.
Oh, God, he may only be at 8 command centers after this.
That's a vital difference here, Kevin. You talk about 5 minerals can make the difference. 1 command center. I tell you, if Puma loses that command center, he's losing this game, Kevin.
And I'm not even checking it, because I just want to see how many command centers that Alive has right now.
Yeah, and that command center's so dead. 3, 2, 1.
Boom.
How did I time that?
Well done.
It's on the mini-map.
I'm impressed.
So am I.
Let's see here. So, oh, hey, more command
Oh, no,
centers
he's
being
replacing it.
constructed.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's replacing it.
Yep.
Very diligent is Puma.
Yep, and Banshee's trying to sneak through here and do a little bit of damage. Looks like a few workers, more workers have been killed, but actually not all that much of consequence. Puma not getting as much damage done there as he would like. But otherwise, just small packs of units running across the map. Oh my god, there's so many command centers. Never mind, he has 11, so he's doing just fine.
All right. So here we are, 192 supply to 158.
Yes.
Seems like a little bit of an advantage for Alive.
That's true, but don't forget, his units are still of, even though he has a lot of Marauders, they're pretty hurt at this moment, still didn't have a ton of medevacs behind this, and he is running into a prepared tank position for Puma. There go the point defense drones to absorb a couple of the shots there on both sides, as a matter of fact. The Marauders are actually taking some pretty significant damage. Yeah, and that Planetary, you can't attack into it with that force.
Yeah, it only got one kill, but it did a lot of damage to Alive's units there. And so he's going to set up his siege tanks to begin shelling away on it. Meanwhile, he denied that command center that was being built. And with Puma losing that, I just don't know, man. He needs that command center.
And this Thor, the tank breaker, yeah, of course, needs every command center at this point. That's the real measure of this game, if you ask me. But Alive now is doing an effective job of sieging up here. He's not noticed the space in the top left-hand corner, which has really only been abused with mules. But you see, like, that's down 35% of its resources. Finally, Alive is going to find this. He is going to attack into the Planetary, but these units are upgraded enough that they should still be able to take this out. That
actually is a very important CC for Puma, because if you look around, after this, he has actually no bases after his fourth.
Right.
Which is 29 minutes. You want to get a little bit more than 4 bases. He's going to try to take this one, but there's a Marine under it. So he can't do it.
Now, Puma could duck back in and do a little bit more damage here. It looks like he is going to. I'm surprised we don't have any high-sec auto-tracking being researched on either side, because that does increase the effectiveness of Planetary Fortresses quite a bit.
That's a great point, yeah. Puma is down to his last breath here. I mean, Alive, his supply is actually lower right now, but I'm pretty afraid for Puma at this time because Alive has all the mining bases. He has the map control completely. Puma has no way to contest this right now.
But I will say, Alive has not done a particularly good job of getting out on the map and taking anything else. Yeah, he secured this 5th really early on. He's got it spammed with mules. His income is great. Don't get me wrong. But this base hasn't been taken. This base hasn't been taken. And those are things that Alive needs to seriously consider doing.
Yeah, that's definitely true, as well as high-sec auto-tracking, because these Blue Flame Hellions just keep killing so many SCVs and delaying so much mining time. But
right.
He's got a great container right now on this 4th base. He's continuing to shell away on it. This is so stressful for Puma. He lost a refinery, actually, which is really important for him. He needs to find a way to get another base.
There comes the tank breaker Thor, absorbing some of the shots and picking off one of the tanks off to the side that allows Puma to siege up a little bit closer. Didn't bring quite enough units with him, was very close, but the Thors weren't up to the front, and he was going to lose all of his tanks here.
Yeah, he is, and every unit at this point counts for Puma. Yeah, he's at 168 supply, but he has no money to keep making units. You know, he just spent another 150 to queue up, I guess. I guess he can't make any more Thor at this point, really. I don't know how many more of them he can afford because he needs more siege tanks. He keeps losing them.
I love this base right here. Puma going to start stealing some resources away from his opponent. And if that actually goes undetected for a while, that could be pretty effective. I mean, all he needs to do is spam that with mules, and he's going to have his income rocket back up again.
Yeah, he does need it, though. He needs it really, really bad. He is 10 workers ahead of his opponent right now, although mules are really a big factor there, so.
Yeah, this Banshee's been going to town. 14 workers, not 14 workers, he killed a few Marines with that a little bit earlier, but 14 units killed in general.
Alive with 189 supply to 178 of Puma, waiting for his chance to clench the jaws upon the suffocating Puma right now, who just finally got that sneaky little hidden base, and that is going to save him so much because he really needed these minerals.
Yeah, look at that income break shoot up 2,400 there a second ago. It's like Puma trying to break this and actually finds a way to kill the front line of tanks. That's important because these bio units right here aren't going to hold that contain anymore. It was purely the tanks that were sitting in position. Alive actually has no tanks left. Those are the last ones killed. So he is purely a very mobile, high DPS force.
Well, what are your thoughts on this, Kevin? You know, Puma doesn't need mobility right now. He just kind of needs to be able to get his economy established.
Yeah, he's going to need more gas here in a second. Unfortunately, he's sitting on this base, just this base down here at the bottom right.
Not making SCVs out of it. He only needs to make 6, is the thing.
Yeah, he has been doing such a good job, though, of running around the map and picking off workers again and again and again. That's really something that Puma has been doing spectacularly, actually. I really have to commend him for that.
Well, Alive is looking like he might pull back from here. He's going to get baited in. He can't do that. I mean, that's how Alive can completely throw this game away.
That's right. I gotta say, now that Puma's in this position, he can reestablish his base here at the top left just by shifting a couple of units over there and clearing up the forces that are in position. And then he's actually in a pretty decent spot if he continues to mule this down here at the bottom right.
Well, Puma cleaned up. If you look in the bottom right corner where all of Puma's base is, he cleaned up all the units down there, and that's actually going to be a little bit of a cue for Alive, but hold that thought, because Alive is actually going to make a push right now for the production facilities belonging to Puma.
Okay, this is really risky. You see how low his units are right now? These units are going to get cleaned up very quickly by the forces that Puma has on the map. But can he do enough damage to justify this? And killing command centers, honestly, where everything is mined out, is not enough. He has to kill unit-producing structures.
Yeah, factories, great move, killing off those. Alive is going to be able to replenish a lot of these units. Actually, look at his mineral count right now, Kevin. It's incredibly low. Granted, he can just drop 17 mules at once and really fix that, but...
Regardless, I mean, he's pretty low in resources. Remember what we talked about before? There's finally the mules that we wanted. But Alive needs to take other bases. He seriously does.
9 mules. Okay, so that's going to give him a nice surge of income at least, but he's down to 128 supply right now. If Puma goes for a big counterattack, he may be able to secure this, but he does not have much time.
What a weird game this has been so far.
It really has.
Okay, yeah, so the force for Puma now is pretty staggering. I mean, he's got 19 workers on his opponent, yes, so you can see army supplies are very equivalent, but that was a good example of what we saw before. The mobility is there for Alive, yes, but Puma has that frontline power.
All right, is Puma going to go for the counter? I'm waiting to see it, man. One of the things that I really wanted to see out of Puma as well was that, that bottom right base makes 6 SCVs out of it, so he can mine at the Vespine geysers down there, but he has made 2. And that is, no, he's made 4. Okay. So he should start refineries on those. There's no reason not to. Gas is completely his limiting factor right now.
That's right. And he's done a good job of, taking opponents away from his side of the map. And there we go. That's enough. And he is going to have gas income from there momentarily. And that's something he absolutely needs. And he needs to get 3 workers on this refinery.
Oh, that's a great observation. How many does he have on that right one?
I think it's around 21. Yeah, there it is. 21. Few too many, if you ask me. Slight oversaturation.
It should be logarithmic.
Oh, no.
Here it is. This is what I was actually talking about earlier, but there was action that interrupted it, is that Puma actually killed off every unit down here in the bottom right, so it was kind of this whole black area for a lot. He couldn't see anything down there.
Right.
And that kind of prompts you to come check it out. I would have loved it if Puma had left the units actually at the other 2 bases. The base all the way in the bottom right and the one to the left of it. So
right.
This base and the one to the left. Alive actually had units there. And it made it that he felt like he had coverage. He felt like he was watching down there. But when Puma killed those off, it made Alive a little suspicious.
Well, we're about 40 minutes in. I said an hour, jokingly, before this, but I'm close to being right now. Puma's going to not reestablish this, but he's going to clear up all the units there, but he's never going to take that again. He's going to start fighting for this base in the middle of the map, or possibly this one here in the top left-hand corner. If he can secure any of those, he's going to be in a decent spot. Finally, Alive takes another base down at the bottom right.
And finally, at 38 minutes, he's actually getting +3 missile, or weapon attack.
Yes.
Vehicle, there we go. That's thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Vehicle.
Missile.
Gotcha.
Right.
The units from Alive are considering some sort of a big flank here. Looks like he's setting up on the right-hand side, but now Puma has actually put himself in between his opponent and this base, so but Alive's almost got that mined out, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. Puma could seriously consider, trying to take out these forces. Alive is way out of position. Puma could collapse on this. Doesn't look like he's going to take the opportunity to do so quite yet, reestablishing his tanks and just playing this very slowly rather than trying to rush in and take out that force quickly.
Oh, he's thinking about it, though. You can see the gears turning. The ops instead to siege out right outside.
Yeah, and actually he has a couple of Banshees here. A couple of the Banshees is enough to start picking away these tanks, and that's exactly what he's going to do at the same time that Alive starts moving up and bypassing these forces altogether. He's just going to gun it and try and take these out.
Look at the amount of coverage that Alive has on the map right now. Puma can't go for a base race, and it seems like he knows it. He's going to turn around and try to deal with these forces, but that may prove too much, man. He doesn't have an economy behind this.
No, he really doesn't. Does he have this base down to the bottom right again? He could actually land that, and he kind of has to take that risk once again and spam down some mules and try and produce anything he possibly can.
Now he decides to.
And he is going to base race, but he's a little bit behind in that regard.
Mech is slow. It doesn't have the DPS. Alive has a larger base. Every single factor right now, except for Viking count, is in Puma's favor.
But look at this. He actually shifts back a couple of Banshees, and that's enough to start whittling away these units here. And he does have the more powerful force, and he's going to force Alive to come to him.
And Alive's being indecisive. He actually pulled out with a large portion of his army and decided not to engage, and Well, now he's changed his mind, but he's checking for extraneous bases that don't exist. Now Puma's going to come home. This is the most awkward base trade ever. It's like 2 6-year-olds dancing.
Oh, no, and Puma doesn't realize this. I mean, not that it was really worth saving that planetary fortress, but he could have made it annoying for a while and taken a few more bio units with him.
I need to actually apologize to any 6-year-olds out there that can dance. You know, my family, we're not very good dancers, so...
I've never been able to dance at any age.
I saw a YouTube video the other day of a 4-year-old kid who was the most disgustingly awesome Nicki Minaj-style rapper ever.
Really?
Yeah, I tweeted it. It was pretty cool. Obviously, you don't follow me on Twitter, Kevin.
I absolutely follow you. I think I just ignore the words Nicki Minaj on a regular basis. So Puma, he's trying to get himself in a position where he can do some more damage. Oh God, he walks all of his SCVs directly into this execution squad here of a few Marines.
They are just having a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are.
You think at some point they run out of bullets?
Well,
that didn't happen.
They are Marines.
SCVs died.
You can fire forever, as our Zerg compatriots know quite
so
well.
So unrealistic. Okay, it's space. I guess weight isn't really a factor.
Yeah, I really don't... I still can't call this game. Puma has no economy left whatsoever. He's got 9 workers to his opponent's 15. Alive has been able to reproduce his units pretty effectively, and he actually has 11 tanks out there. Now 10. With this base going down, that's a pretty big blow to Alive, and that's actually going to force his hand a little bit. It looks like he's just going to try and out for the base trade.
But Alive could miss the important factor here that Puma has a mining base over here in the 3 o'clock position, which just lifted off.
He's going to bring it back to where he knows his army is at now and try and hold on to that for a little while. Yes, it is. Not a lot of resources left here at this base over at the 9 o'clock position.
Should pick his factories as well.
Yeah.
Just going to do the mass relocation.
All right, so this has just been insane. This is a weird way to finish this up. We're 45 minutes in now. The production facilities from Puma are under attack, and that is actually pretty rough for him.
All of this should lift. All the factories, all the command centers, everything lift and fly to the bottom here for Puma. 1 or 2 of your structures are going to make it. And those could be 1 or 2 structures that produce 1 or 2 siege tanks that win you the game.
That's absolutely right. He does have this command center in position to drop down. Now, his opponent doesn't have a very well-developed air army. 4 Vikings, and that's it. So if Puma can establish air dominance, he can actually focus on these structures fairly quickly. One way or another, this game's going to be over in the next couple of minutes. Whether it comes through an engagement or just attrition, though, we'll find out.
All right, so Alive is out in the middle of the map, looking like he's actually trying to find and hunt down the last few bastions of defense here. What's the Viking counts?
It's 15 to 4.
Okay, so if everybody ends up with floating bases and someone wins on the ground, and that someone is Puma, wins on the ground?
Well, he even really doesn't need that, because all he needs to do is protect a couple of structures in the air and take out a couple of command centers, and as soon as one of his structures comes under fire, he just floats 15 Vikings over to that and sits there and protects just that structure. And we could actually have a stalemate. That would be a weird way for this to finish up.
Yeah, I'm trying to... okay, so Alive has a big ground army. Let's actually look at the unit counts right now, these guys. So 15 tanks. Wow, 9 tanks for Alive. But, okay, so let's say Puma, you know, grabs his last building and places all of his siege tanks around it. Alive might not have enough to push into it, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say Puma can defend 1 structure and 1 structure alone, or 1 base. And Alive, well, we'll see how much he maintains here, but the factories are only, the Vikings, excuse me, are only going to help Puma here if Alive's bases, if he can't land anything, you know, if he's trying to float buildings away. Otherwise, these Vikings are going to be pretty much just dead supply.
All right, so I want to point out we had 21 command centers on the field at one point, and I want to see actually how many are left now. Okay, this one's floating away, and it's actually going to bypass this base, so should be able to pick up on that.
Just hit the S key, man, for structures.
Yeah.
I wish it was Heart of the Swarm. No.
You're right. No, I mean, of course I have it, though. I was like, oh, yeah. Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4 command centers remaining.
Yeah, looks like 1 floating to the top left, 1 floating down to the bottom right.
1 sitting. Or is there 5? No, that's a Viking ball. So Puma has 1. It's right there. And then Alive has 1, 2, 3.
3. All right, so all the forces for Alive are moving in this little ball here. And he does have sustain with his army, which is actually really important because any of the damage that's suffered to Puma is permanent damage. Oh, Alive's going to go for it. He's going to push straight in. Point defense drones dropping for both players. More were actually dropped for Puma during that engagement. Alive has actually taken some pretty big losses, but he finally breaks everything open here on the right-hand side.
Oh, the command center is exposed. The command center is exposed for Puma. This is the last floating structure that he is in possession of, and it goes down. How many Marines were actually there, man? Was that a mistake out of Puma, or was that just genius play out of Alive?
Well, 29 Marines are still remaining.
Yeah.
And that means his opponent is now revealed, and already Marines are moving over to those structures. So I don't even think that even if Puma wins this engagement straight up.
Doesn't matter.
Yes,
Yep.
Exactly.
This game is that a structure down there in the bottom?
That's it.
Yep.
GG. Puma is out 50 minutes in. Alive takes the game, and he is going to move on as your third Terran representative to IPL 6.
I got to say, if we have a throwback to IPL 4 and Alive wins it, this is the game to remember, man.
It was pretty awesome, actually.
If that's what got him to IPL 6. So huge congratulations to Alive, guys. Puma, heartfelt consolations, but
yeah.
Tough match for him, but Mech doesn't do so well in base races. So
still a good day for EG, though, as Revival makes it into the tournament. So
yeah.
Can't count him out. A very solid Zerg player. So Revival, Hyun, and now Alive end up coming out of this qualifier. So kind of a crazy game there to end things, but I hope you guys did enjoy it.
You were laughing at that commercial as we open it up to see how you guys are doing and say hello to everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. It's been a huge blast casting for you. I'm Kibbles, casting finally once again with Mr. Kevin Naki.
Yay! I'm so happy right now. It was fun. They were fun games.